Hey everybody, this is Lex at Mac's Future, and just before the Christmas holiday, I thought I'd do a little video about the Macintoshes, the MacBook Pros, the MacBook Airs, all the Macs, and have a little discussion about what Mac maybe you should want to get if you're trying to make a difficult decision as to what Mac to get. And I wrote a blog post about it, and I have a link below in the comments or the show notes here that you can go to my blog where I go more in depth about it. But I'll just do a video regarding what kind of Mac you should get, because one of the things I'm pretty much asked a lot is, what Macintosh should I get? And this is asked of me by my friends and acquaintances who've never owned a Mac and are thinking of getting one for the first time. And so I thought I'd go through it. So here are the choices that you have in December 2012. You can get a MacBook Air, 11 or 13 inch. You can get a Retina MacBook Pro. You can get the last generation MacBook Pro. You can get an iMac, 21.5 inches or 27 inch. You can get a Mac Mini or a Mac Pro. And so I'm going to go through each model and discuss the pros and cons. One thing in common pretty much with all the Macs except the Mac Pro is that you can get it with Thunderbolt inputs and also USB 3.0 inputs and outputs. And these inputs and outputs are much faster than traditional USB 2.0 or FireWire connections. And USB 3.0 is particularly helpful as there are a lot of external devices. So let's get to it. Let's first talk about the MacBook Airs. So here we go. Okay, so the MacBook Airs, they're a very popular model. And, the main advantage of this type of Macintosh is that it is super, super light and portable. The 11-inch MacBook Air is 2.38 pounds or 1.08 kilograms in weight, so it is one of the lightest computers around. Now, the 13-inch MacBook Air is a bit heavier at 2.96 pounds or 1.35 kilograms, but you get much more screen size. The other big plus or minus for the MacBook Airs are that they only have SSD drives and not traditional hard drives. The plus for an SSD drive is that they are very fast in terms of read and write speeds compared to a standard hard drive, and thus make the MacBook Air seem very fast. The minus is that the SSD drives are more expensive and you will have less internal storage compared to getting a computer with a traditional hard drive. My 11-inch MacBook Air has an internal SSD drive that is only 128 gigabytes in size. So who should get this? You should get this if you already have a Macintosh and are looking for a portable second computer, or you need to travel with your computer and type a lot and run productivity programs, and an iPad isn't enough for you, or you don't have a second computer and you really need portability and don't do heavy lifting. For example, you don't do large data processing, i.e. of pictures, movies, and audios, and a less powerful computer is fine for you. You should not get this if you don't have a second computer and you will use this computer to do heavy lifting, i.e. editing pictures, movies, and audio. You have a second computer, but that computer is old and can't handle a heavy workload which you need to handle. You need a computer with a great deal of storage to store your family photos, movies, and audio. Or if you need a built-in DVD player, as the MacBook Airs do not have built-in DVD drives, although you can purchase an external DVD drive. So that's the pros. Those are the pros and cons of a MacBook Air. Okay, now let's go on to the Retina MacBook Pros. The Retina MacBook Pros are totally redesigned models that were released this summer, the 15-inch model that is, and last month, the 13-inch model that is. The biggest difference between these laptops and the MacBook Airs are that the Retinas have a Retina displays which have many more pixels per square inch than any other computer, including the MacBook Airs. For content that can take advantage of the higher pixel concentration, the Retina displays look amazing. The Retina MacBook Pros also have more power and more RAM than the MacBook Airs, so if you need to have more of a workhorse type computer, they are a better way to go. The Retina MacBook Pros are heavier than the MacBook Airs, but lighter than the prior models of the MacBook Pros. For example, the 13-inch model of the Retina MacBook Pro weighs 3.57 pounds, which is 1.62 kilograms, and by comparison, the MacBook Airs are both under 3 pounds in weight. The 15-inch Retina MacBook Pros weighs 4.46 pounds, which is 2.02 kilograms. By comparison, the prior generation MacBook Pro was 4.6 pounds, 2.06 kilograms for the 13-inch model, and 5.6 pounds, 2.56 kilograms for the 15-inch model. Like the MacBook Air, the Retina MacBook Pros have only SSD drives and do not have internal DVD drives. You should get this if you need a workhorse computer, that is one that is good for crunching photos, video, and audio, and you would also like some portability. Or you only have one computer and the Retina MacBook Pro will replace your one computer. Or you need mobility but also need a screen size of 15 inches. The MacBook Air is not an option as the largest screen size for that computer is 13 inches. Or you need a Retina display as you work with a lot of photos or other graphics, and the higher pixel resolution will really help you. Or you need a Retina display because you are always on the forefront of technology, and these are the first computers with Retina display. You should not get the Retina MacBook Pros if you plan to be very mobile with your Mac and don't do heavy lifting, photos, video, and audio editing, or have another more powerful Mac. You should probably get a MacBook Air. You need a Mac to be a hub for all your digital data and digital editing of photos, video, and audio, and you can use your iPads or iPad minis or iPhones or iPod touches when you are mobile. You should probably get an iMac, see below. You really need a portable Mac with a large internal hard drive and or internal DVD drive. You should probably get the traditional non-Retina MacBook Pro. So those are the pros and cons of the Retina MacBook Pros. Okay, let's go on to the iMacs. Now, the iMacs were just upgraded, and they are the most popular desktop computers sold by Apple. Apple changed the design of the iMacs pretty much in just two ways. First, Apple made the iMacs really thin along the edges and the area toward the edges. If you look carefully, they have bulges in the middle of the back, but you can only spot that if you look exactly sideways. The iMacs also have a new technology that is called fusion drives, which through the operating system treat one SSD drive and one traditional hard drive as one drive. The Mountain Lion operating system will automatically store those applications and files you use a lot to the SSD drive and store the other files on the hard drive. This way you get the best of both worlds. You can also get the iMac with just a hard drive or just an SSD drive. Unlike the prior iMac models, you can't order an iMac with a hard drive and an SSD drive unless you configure it as a fusion drive. Also, because the iMac is super thin and because Apple believes optical drives are not the future, the new iMacs have no DVD drives. The iMacs come in the same size as before, a 21.5-inch model and a 27-inch model, with the ability to have quad-core processors and RAM up to 32 gigabytes, as well as a 33 terabyte hard drives. The iMacs are much more powerful than the Retina MacBook Pros and have better storage. The iMacs are not easy to expand or replace internal components, although you can add RAM yourself to the 27-inch model. So you should get one of the new iMacs if you need a central location with a lot of storage and processor power to store and edit your photos, videos, audios, and other data. Or you already have mobile devices such as a MacBook Air, iPad, iPad mini, iPhone, or iPod Touch. Or you don't plan to be mobile with your computer, or you really need big screens to do your work, or you need a lot of storage, or you need a lot of processor power. You should not get an iMac if you only have one computer and need it to be mobile, or you don't really store and edit a lot of photos, videos, audios, or other large types of data, or you need a desktop computer that you can expand to add additional internal components. So those are the pros and cons of getting an iMac. Okay, so the next computer is the Mac Minis. So the Mac Minis start at an entry price of $599, and they're the cheapest and also the smallest Macintosh. $599 just gets you the computer and no monitor, keyboard, or mouse or trackpad. The base model comes with 4 gigabytes of memory and a 500 gigabyte hard drive and the standard software that comes with it. You can't get another. You can get another model that's more expensive with a faster processor, and you can expand the memory up to 16 gigabytes. The Mac Mini, unlike other Macs, has an HDMI out connection, which makes it easy to connect to a TV. So you should get the Mac Mini if you are someone who's on a very low budget and who is switching from a Windows setup where he or she already has a monitor, keyboard, and mouse. Or you need a home entertainment system and you want to hook this up to a large TV with an HDMI input. Or you want to have your own home server running with Apple's Mountain Lion server software. Do not get the Mac Mini if you need a portable computer with a built-in battery to take you on the road, or you want an elegant setup with your monitor built into the computer like the iMac, or you have decent savings and want to splurge on a better Macintosh. So those are the pros and cons of the Mac Mini. Okay, so finally, the Mac Pros. Let's talk about them. The Mac Pro is Apple's large traditional computer in a gigantic aluminum box. Apple barely upgraded it this past summer, and it is the only Macintosh that doesn't have Thunderbolt and USB 3.0 connections in it. Professionals who rely on the Mac Pros were very upset with Apple's only very modest upgrade of this product. Apple CEO Tim Cook has said and hinted that the Mac Pros will get a major upgrade in 2013. So if you really want a Mac Pro, it probably makes sense to wait and not purchase anything until Apple seriously upgrades it. If you really need a Mac Pro now, the entry-level price for one is $2,499. At that price, you get a quad-core processor that runs at 3.2 gigahertz, and you get 6 gigabytes of memory and a 1 terabyte hard drive. That price does not include a monitor, keyboard, or trackpad. You can spend much more money and upgrade to a faster processor with many cores and more RAM and a larger hard drive. The Mac Pros have additional compartments inside its box to house additional hard drives and SSD drives. It also has PCI slots that allow you to modify the Mac Pros and connect to additional external hardware. So you should get the Mac Pro if you have a Macintosh, you use a Macintosh professionally and need a very powerful computer with many extra compartments to house additional internal hard drives and SSD drives, or you have plenty of money and you like to have a powerful Macintosh which cuts down on clutter by having all extra hard drives contained internally. You should not get this if you are on a budget and don't want to spend too much money on a computer, or you like to have your monitor built into the computer, or you want to have a Macintosh that has Thunderbolt and USB 3.0 connections, or you want a Macintosh that is mobile. So that's it for the pros and cons of the Mac Pro, and that's it for my overview of what Mac you should get. Check out my blog post, and if you want to read it instead of watching it on video, and consider subscribing to this channel. Thanks for listening.